All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of What's What BR. We've got two of our favorite guests returning, coming back. We've got Major Don and Greg Meriwether with the Greater Baton Rouge Salvation Army. How's it going, guys?
Hey, Brandon, doing well. How about you?
It's good. I think things are pretty good. We got beautiful weather right now. I've ran a check for this weather. I'll tell you
You
that.
definitely can't beat the weather. That's for sure.
I just went to had a lunch and went inside to go eat, but they had the doors open, and I was like, I'm going outside, to eat.
hmm
This is great.
Yeah.
So,
I never like the term
um,
we deserve something, but if anybody deserves something good happening with the weather, it's Southern Louisiana.
That's very true.
and I think we're getting a stint of it too. I think it's going to run. I think we maybe a little bit of wet on the weekend, but then I hear it picks up. It's going to be good next week as well. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. Sure, it makes a lot of the efforts that you guys are working on a whole lot easier.
It
Weather's the
does.
last thing you want to get tied up in the mix, right? So,
Yeah.
so look to jump in, kind of get into some things. I know just on a little, checkup, Major Don, you've been running back and forth with these storms, kind of helping everybody. Tell us a little bit about how your life's been with this.
Well, it has been an interesting last few weeks. We've had teams in Lake Charles for several weeks. We've had teams in Lafayette for a week or so. So we've been running and gunning and helping people the best we can. Our emergency disaster canteen has been deployed all those times. So we've just gotten it back. So it has been a busy time serving people, but it's a good time to serve people. And that is our mission, to take care of people. So it's a privilege to do that and be able to feed people in their most vulnerable moments of trying to, life has been literally a disaster, just to be there to help them get through those days.
I was talking with somebody over in the medical. Is actually they were training some of the nurses over from Fran U, and they were talking about how some of their nurses, and this applies where I'm going with this, was the same thing with you, is you're meeting people a lot of times on the worst day of their life, or
Yeah.
right thereafter, and so having to help, but then it's not just about, I'm sure, just hey, here's a hot meal, but it's also a little bit of counselor, psychologist, a little bit of all of it, right?
Absolutely. It's one of the best things we do, especially being a people of faith, is just being able to pour into people as you give them a hot meal and meet their physical need. But just to remind them that they're not alone, God's with them. Just be able to pray for them or bolster them, giving them an encouraging word. It's one of the things we do well. So a hot meal is important, and just spending time with somebody to help them get through that moment is equally as important.
Was talking just well the other day with somebody. I think it's way too many times, and I've, one of the things I've been kind of suggesting to everyone is anytime you meet somebody, usually or you see first time, everybody's doing the, how are you, kind of thing. And it's amazing how many times we ask people that question, but then we don't even listen to the response. Like you look at them, but you don't even they could say, yeah, I just got in a car wreck, and my leg's bleeding out, and you wouldn't even, okay, great. Well, anyway, while we're here, it's like, you just skipped over, pause a little bit and just listen, to people. And it doesn't always have to be, business, that type of thing. So Greg, you're on the board. So obviously you guys have been having to shuffle, move. It's my drinking game word, pivot, for 2020, every time you say it. So
Well,
things.
eventually I think it will be a blessing in disguise. We were talking earlier. It's kind of forced us to kind of think outside of the box. We thought a couple of years ago we were being innovative with Christmas just by letting people do an Amazon wish list for angel tree gifts, and we thought that was kind of thinking out of the box. Now, fast forward just a few short months, and the entire angel tree program is going to be online. So that's something we would have dreamed of just a few years ago. And literally just last year, we would not have dreamed of that. And then here we are. So it's forced us to really think about some things that we probably would not have done. And I think that there are some things that will stick around. We were thrilled once we got approval to be outside ringing the bells, because a lot of people, when they think of Salvation Army, one of the main things they think of is that person out there ringing the bell outside of Walmart or wherever it may be. And the best part about that is that's just literally the tip of the iceberg of the Salvation Army. most people don't know that, we help out men with substance abuse problems, that we help people get their GEDs, and families get back on their feet and all this kind of stuff. I think I told the story the last time. I was with one of our caseworkers one time, and she literally went out and helped a woman fix part of her car, one of her clients and things. So it's just a little tip of the iceberg. So it's the little change that you give there when you're walking in Walmart, or as we were saying, now you can scan the code with your phone or Apple Pay, and it might be a couple dollars to you, but that just trickles down and it really helps us out. And so this COVID situation and just the hurricanes and just 2020 in general has really caused us to kind of think about things differently. And so I think that while there will still hopefully always be that person out there ringing the kettlebell or the angel tree, the angels on the tree, we also hope that it'll also stay online and things like that. And so we can kind of do it all together and perhaps reach more people that way.
No, and I wrote a column this month about it, talking about, we talk about 2020, and I think it has been a year, and it's every time you turn around, it's been, something. But what occurred to me when I was writing it was we're, depending on when you're listening, watching this, or read the article, we're 305 days, into this already. We only got 60 days left, so it's like we're on the tail end. It doesn't like it for 1 minute on one hand, it feels like we've been doing this forever. And then the next minute, it seems like, wait, are we really in November at this point? Like, how did we get here? So, and I think it's, awesome. Tell me though, for who's better to tell, Greg, not who's the better person to talk about, the Angel in the Tree, project here.
Well, I'll be glad to run for a minute, and then Greg can fill in because he's got some great stories to tell too. But so this year we've gone to a completely online. In fact, we just finished about a week ago doing all of our interviews, taking all of the applications for families who want help with Christmas with toys and food. So we're right at about 3,000 children, 1,200 families that represents will get toys and food for their family for Christmas. So in a day or two, we will go live online then with adopting angels. So if there's families out there who want to do something really cool to teach their kids what it is to give back and maybe help a child who doesn't have all the things that you have, then go to our website, salvationarmybr.org, and check out and see about adopting some children. And that should go live just here in the next day or so.
And so how does that, for somebody who's never done that before, obviously no one's ever done it online before. So this is completely different, but is it a donation? Is it, buying the gifts? Is it buying the food? Is it, a little bit of all of it? Do they meet the family?
Well, for Angel Tree, it's buying the gifts. So, and there's several ways to do it being we're online. So, you go and pick out an angel, a boy, girl. Some people like to pick out siblings, and so they're together. And you can shop whichever which way you want. We have a link with Walmart, and Walmart's been such a great partner, especially this Christmas, with helping us rescue Christmas. And so you can either shop at Walmart or online, anywhere you want to go, or if you want to go out and shop as a family, and then bring them in. So you could go to Amazon or Walmart and shop and have it sent to us, or you could have it sent and bring it in, or go shopping somewhere and bring it in. There's all the options you want that are available this year that, as Greg said, we've never done before. So we're learning as we go.
Figured. How was that, Greg? You guys, was that from a board perspective? I'm sure y'all had to get involved, in some of that and some of the discussions behind the scenes on, and I think we're all having a lot of those discussions behind the closed doors of, well, let's do it this way. Well, how are we going to do it? I don't know. We'll figure it out, and that's just kind of what you've got to have a team to rally around.
Yeah. And honestly, some of the decisions are kind of made for you. I mean, if you don't do it online, then you don't do it. And then there's just too many families that would get lost in the shuffle of that. I've told the story several times. The Angel Tree is huge for me. And I grew up in a middle-class family, but my parents, they grew up poor. And my mom always told the story of the Salvation Army giving her a doll when she was younger. And her parents had already told her at that point that it probably wasn't going to be much Christmas. And the Salvation Army truck came around and gave her and her sister a doll. And that always stuck with her. And she always talked good about the Salvation Army. She always shared that story with me. And so we would pass them going into a store, or she would bring that up, and it always kind of stuck with me. And so, fast forward, and now I'm, an adult, and I pass that on to my kids, and I'm on the board and try to help out as much as I can. So I always tell people, when you give to specifically the Angel Tree, don't just think about the parents that you're helping out, but think about that little child that you really are helping out, and their children, because you really are passing it down. You're stopping a generation from continuing to pass down poverty. You're stopping it right then and there, or at least helping and giving a little kid hope to where he can kind of turn himself around. And I think that is probably one of the more rewarding things about the whole situation. The Angel Tree goes even deeper for me. I was, working Channel 9, and we used to have a Hand It On project where we would give out money to different organizations. And one of the Capital One was there. They were part of the Angel Tree at that time. And one of the people picked to shop for gifts. We were going to do a story. And so we basically needed video of someone going out shopping for gifts, showing people how to, get your angel. Here's what they want, a basketball, size 2 shoes, whatever it may be. So we needed a person to go out and do those things. So they picked one of their volunteers at Capital One, one of their workers there, and her name was Melissa. And so we went and did the story on her, and we got to talking, and one thing led to another, and Melissa's now my wife. So it's a funny thing how things can happen that way. But so anyway, the Angel Tree is very important to me. And so from that, I always gain a lot. And it's not just buying kids gifts. It's not just food that we give them. Again, it is literally just one more, just breaking away at that generational poverty and that cycle of poverty. It's just one more axe to grind and get it in there, chip away at that rock, so we can kind of stop that and stop passing it down.
Well, I think it goes, first it was kind of a neat story. Didn't see that coming anywhere out of left field. But I think it goes, to me, like even so much further, because it's not the gifts themselves. It's the fact of you're also giving hope to somebody that someone outside cares. They didn't know, they didn't necessarily know me. We all try to, we all do our best to help as much as we can and help our, friends and our family. But then just some people don't, have the best support system and, doesn't necessarily know. But for that child, I can even imagine for a parent who, they may not receive anything, but for them to get the hope that someone was able to reach out to help with their kid and to be able to see their kid, light up, at Christmas, and to see that, kind of sparking, like you said, with your mother, it carries on and people tell the story, and I think that's how these things keep rolling and keep growing. Mr. Don, you said it's 1,200 something families,
3,000 families, right around 3,000 children. So I always think about, Greg's grandparents. Then that's the stress that you take. Life is already hard. You transfer that to where we are today in Baton Rouge and across southern Louisiana with because of COVID, we've got more people who are unemployed than they've ever been before. We've got a lot of new people who are in a place maybe they've never been before, or just some people who've been going through a hard time and now COVID and now storms, and they find themselves even in a deeper hole than they've ever been. And you think about what it must have felt like to be Greg's grandparents who go, you're getting nothing. We've got nothing. We've got nothing to give. And to tell your children that probably Santa's not coming this year because there's nothing to give. So you already got all this pressure. You already got all this stress. You're already trying to make ends meet. And maybe those families who are still living in a motel are struggling to make ends meet and just keep the lights on. And all of a sudden there's some hope that your kids can have something to unwrap on Christmas and have Christmas Day. And for at least a moment, have Christmas Day to escape the world's problems and have a smile.
No, I think I wrote a piece talking about, being, thankful, and that's, what we have to do now. I know we jump holidays, and I think I've seen it's been kind of a meme, running and kind of moving around the internet where it's, okay, October straight to Christmas. It's like, no, we got Thanksgiving here. So let's remember, but I think these are usually times that are hard for people, the holiday season. And I think this year it's going to be even harder. And I can't imagine what it would be like, you talk about with people unemployed, work, so it's like we're going to make this, problem usually a tough time of year. We're going to make it worse with COVID. We're going to make it worse, where people may not even have their homes with all these storms. How can we? I think everybody, anybody listening to this, I would think, that you've got the means to help at some degree. You can pick something up, bring it in. Are the 1,200 families 3,000 people? Is that who raised their hand, reached out, and said, we'd like help, or is that the goal, or is it like or is there a chance we're leaving somebody behind, out there?
There's always that chance. And again, we're not the only people that do this. There's others. And so we begin to work with other agencies too that provide help. But our original goal, we were thinking that maybe this year with the limitations that we have, that we try to help 2,000 children. And then it kind of grew to, seems like we're going to hit that goal pretty fast. So we moved to 25, and we got to that goal pretty fast. And so we've kind of settled on this number of 3,000. So that's a lot of children. When you think about before, when people shopped, they would go to Walmart, they'd have their tag of their angel tree and their child, and they go shop and they bring us the bag. This year with doing it online, we're going to have gifts coming literally from everywhere that are just getting mailed to us, that we then have to tie to that angel, get it in their bag for their family. I wish we could say we know in our heads we got this all figured out. I'm not sure that we do yet, but we'll figure it out. But we're going to be running and gunning and learning as we go too. But the logistics of this is huge. So you got to get to some point where you say, this is what we can do. These are the families we can help. These are real families, real children. Everything you give to the Salvation Army stays in this community. So as Greg was saying, when you go by Walmart and you drop some coins in the kettle to help, that stays here. When you adopt an angel, that's a real child in this community. Mm-hmm. That's going to get benefited from those gifts here. All those things stay right here to help kids here that are real kids.
And I think that it's a perfect teaching moment too, Brandon, with your audience of parents. I think it's a perfect time to take your younger son or daughter that's old enough to understand what's going on and say, you can print out the angel and say, look, this is, who we're dealing with, and it has their name, the first name, and it usually has, they offer them, a wish list, what would you want to have, and it's usually a basketball is like the biggest wish on there. We always get bikes every time. We always do bikes. I've never not done one where I did not get a kid a bike, which is always just kind of our little extra way of helping out. But there's clothes on there, coats and things like that. So you literally could print it out with your son or daughter and take them shopping with you. It won't take very long at all. And it teaches them, like, we're fortunate. You're going to have a Christmas. Santa Claus is going to come see you. But this little kid who lives in your community, who's probably about your age, who does everything that you do, it's just that he doesn't have the wherewithal, or his parents don't have the wherewithal to provide. So we're going to help them out. And so you go and you shop and let them pick out what they want or how they want to bless the kid. And I can guarantee you, my son's not old enough. He just turned 2, but I can guarantee I will do it with my son. But I just know that will stay with the kid. It has to in this day and age. Just get them away from the PlayStation, get them out or get them online. I mean, you've got them right there. Set the computer up, say, okay, well, let's shop for Tim. Let's see what he needs. And I think it's a perfect teaching tool.
Absolutely. I've got, we've done some stuff. We did with some of the first responders that came in. I grabbed my daughter and we went and did. Terry in our office, arranged and helped get some food, for some people. Mm-hmm. And I'd had her come with me, and be able to see, and she didn't get the whole experience. I had to do conference calls and storm, and literally hurricane was blowing in, and we're running around picking up, the food and getting there, and she didn't get it until after, we left, that she got to see, their faces and be able to see that it helped. But I think it's important for all of us as parents, that this is one of those things that you don't just, I guess I'm trying to lose myself on the words. It's not learned just by default, to go and help. Mm-hmm. We need to teach our kids, this is how we help and this is what we do. are blessed, and you're going to turn around. You need to kind of pay that forward, and you need to help out. And I think it's extremely important for everybody, to teach their kids this, and it's a skill. I say I've got some family up in Iowa, and we say, our kids are right now about that age to where every year we're going to bring them up for about a week or two to actually, go work, the fields and get ready,
Mm-hmm.
the crop, that they need to learn that manual skill. They need to learn this giving skill as well.
Yep.
It's something that I think goes a long way. Like I said, they could do it online, but if, go out, have some fun with it.
Right.
It's a big deal. And I think they'll realize, they'll feel good about themselves. They'll see that they helped. And then maybe there's more ways, they can get in, this sounds like a logistics nightmare. At the end of the day, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, we've got that Amazon hub. Like, do we have somebody over there that can help us, put it together? What are you needing people to help you, pull this together? Or
We do. We're always in need of volunteer, and we're just so grateful too. We have some great volunteer groups out there that are signed up and ready to go. One of our needs last week was a warehouse. We'd lost the place we were going to go, and because of Greg and Channel 9 and some others who ran our story to tell the community about our plight. On Monday, we met with a local family, and we have a warehouse. So we're grateful for that, to have the space in the room, the logistical space, to begin to make all that happen. So there's a lot of things that tying all those gifts back to that child. We'll figure it out. We got really smart. One of the things I'm blessed with, I got really smart people around me, way smarter than me. And so they'll get this figured out, and we'll be ready to go. So that second week of Christmas, when we do distribution, we'll be off and running.
That's what I was about to say. But on that, I always tell everybody, if I'm the smartest guy in the room, I'm in the wrong room.
We're doomed, right?
So, but that's what I say. So this goes out the second week, of December.
Yes.
It's like 14 days to deliver 1,200 packages or 1,200 sets of packages. That sounds a feat in itself.
Yep. For 3,000 different children. So all those pants, all those socks, all those coats, all those toys, all got to come in and be put with their family and checked and double checked to make sure they're all there and every child is taken care of. And there's a lot of hands that make it all happen. We're grateful for a lot of amazing volunteers who help do it.
And eventually, Major, correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I know the warehouse thing is kind of fluid, or it's happening now, but you will be able to go out and shop at Walmart and then drop off the gifts eventually at that location. So it's really easy to do it online, but you can also, while you're with your kid, just bag it all up in one whole thing and take it over there. And the trick that we used to do is you can go to the Dollar Tree or one of those dollar stores, and they have those huge bags. They're basically just like I don't even know what it's called, because we don't want you to wrap the gifts, but you just put it all together and put the tag on it and get it over there. And it just makes it so much easier. But even if you don't go through all that trouble, just all of it together, bring it to us, and we will take it from there.
Absolutely.
And Major, I looked at our website today. We've got, as soon as you log on there, we've got Rescue Christmas, and you can also donate to the Red Kettle program as well, which helps us out. So if maybe you're not going shopping this year as much as you would because of COVID, or if you're a person that's maybe at risk, an elderly person or something who normally would give a little bit here or there when you would see the folks out ringing the bell, you can do that online too. Maybe you can help your parents. Maybe you have an older parent that normally gives the Salvation Army. You can help them if they're not very tech savvy, but you can donate right there online as well. So we can make that happen as well. We're trying to make it as easy as possible. Just to be able to help as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Really.
One of the other new things we're doing that Greg kind of touched on there is our online Red Kettle giving. So Brandon, you could have your own Red Kettle and get your friends and family and people to donate to your kettle. And it'll all come here. So if you go to our webpage, as Greg said, there's 3 things that you can do pretty quickly. One is start your own Red Kettle or give to somebody's Red Kettle. You can adopt an angel, or you can volunteer. So if you go to our website, salvationarmybr.org, you can find those 3 things very quickly at the top of our page. on how you can get involved and do something to make a difference. So
you got my interest peaked here on, I can get my own red kettle. Do I
yeah,
know who's donated to my kettle?
sure. Yes, you can, because if you sign up, it will
Mhm.
send you a link that is your own unique link. And so it will link whoever you want to send that link to your red kettle. So
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking, Greg, you might want to jump in on this one. I'm getting my own kettle, and I got so much email that I got to deal with every day that I'm going to put in my signature. Maybe like I'm only replying to people who donate to my kettle. You know, so,
That's a really good idea.
if you don't donate, the likelihood of you getting, a reply, the more you donate, the quicker the reply comes.
Right.
That might be
That's very creative. I've never heard of that, but it's very, very thoughtful for sure.
we have one of our board members on Monday. We have our annual golf tournament this year. We're again trying something new, and we're going to Top Golf. And one of our board members signed up all his employees that they could take the day off and come golf only if they start their own red kettle and help him and his team raise the most money. So there's lots of leverage you can do to bribe your friends to give. But
that might be another one for some of the offices, to get, a little inter office challenge, of who can, kind of who can raise the most. And I think it's what's most important to me, or in the top list of what you said, was that money staying here. It's not going out and then getting dispersed and divided up between everybody else. That dollar, when you virtually drop it or, actually drop it into the kettle, that's going to stay in our community. But back on that, you mentioned Walmart. So you did get a green light. Are we dubbing the kettles as essential workers?
Yes,
so
Walmart's been an amazing partner, especially with this Christmas. And we can announce this. It'll probably be the first place we announce it here in Baton Rouge. But Walmart is also starting in the next day or so to do a roundup at their register. So we'll be able to ring outside their store, but you can also round up or give an extra gift when you shop at Walmart that will benefit the Salvation Army and the local community where that Walmart is. So Walmart has been an amazing corporate sponsor for the Salvation Army all across the U.S. And is really stepping up this year even more. I know we were on a national call a few weeks ago, and Walmart shared just where we are with COVID, that there are probably going to be by next spring a lot of not-for-profits that are maybe not here anymore. Fundraising is just too hard. And Walmart has basically said, we're not going to let that happen to the Salvation Army. And so they're really seriously coming to our rescue. So working through all the details of social distancing and bell ringing outside locations, and not just Walmart's, but many other places in our community that we're able to do that. With that, an online red kettle, I'm excited. I know we talked about some heavy things here, with people who are in need and all, but the truth of the matter is there's a lot of hope out there, and God's given us a lot of avenues to reach people and help people. And even folks like you, Brandon, who give us these few moments to talk to the people who follow you and watch you and spark a little interest and think of a new idea. I think of Greg running the story about our needing a warehouse, and a family watched that. And that night at dinner said, honey, I think we can do something about this. We've got some space. And all those little conversations just plant seeds of hope in this community that people can make a difference. And that's one of the exciting things about living here, is because if you just plant a seed, people will watch it grow and help water it and make some amazing things happen.
No, we've talked too many times, not just, the Salvation Army, but all of these nonprofits, the work that they do in our community and how important it is. And what people don't realize is the work that's being done. They don't see what it's, from, the groups that work with mental health, the people that, work, you got obviously, the homeless and people that need it's a huge, it's going to be a huge problem for us as a community. We have to realize that we need to help, and step, up as a community and do whatever we can, to help all these groups. And just, it's amazing. And I think people don't realize, like you said in the beginning, everything that you guys are doing. This sounds like such, normally you might take a regular, smaller organization and, their whole goal might be for the year to help, 1,000 families. You're going, hey, we're going to knock this thing out, in about 6 weeks. We're going to go take care of 3,000, people for Christmas, and we're going to do it in 6 weeks. And we'll have it delivered in the following 2.
Yeah.
That's a big feat.
Yeah, we're going to start at Thanksgiving though with helping 500 families with a food box. So it kind of starts with that, and volunteers coming in to help pack food, and we will distribute right around 500 boxes of food to 500 families. Then Christmas starts with Angel Tree and helping. Compared to, as Greg said, sometimes people think we're just around at Christmas, but the truth is tonight, 60 homeless men will sleep in our shelter, and we have 52 beds for men in drug and alcohol problems today. Families, especially families with disabilities, are getting help with their energy bill. Families are getting food. There's a lot of things that happen here all day long that we're providing a service to our community, and again, helping the most vulnerable people in our community get through today.
Speaking of, are you guys still doing the tokens?
We are. If people want to buy a token, it's a great program, our Token of Hope.
I want you to tell, because I think that's such, I think we talked about it last time. We did, some little bit of coverage with it, but I think it's such a great program. It makes, I personally really like it. So if you give us the short version on that one.
Sure. Well, I think it's like anything. There's a lot of people who want to help. They just want to make sure their help works, so that if you want to adopt an angel, that you really know that's a real child. And so we've been able to vet, go through and make sure those children are really at need. It's even kind of a bigger issue, especially our community. There's almost somebody on every corner who is panhandling and asking for money. And just because their sign says they claim to be homeless, I don't mean to be too blunt, but doesn't mean they are. There's a lot of people who panhandle, and it's their job, and it's the way they make money off of your charitable thought in your head. So one of the ways we want to combat that we really are helping people who are in need, is with our Token of Hope program. And you can buy a token from us for $10, carrying them in your car or whatever. We have churches who buy them in bulk, some families who buy them in bulk, businesses who buy them. And so when people come to their door and say, or you see them on the street and you don't know what to do, you don't want to give them money if they're not going to use it well. So you can say, well, I don't have any cash, or I'm not giving cash, but I have a token. And that token will get you a night's stay, 2 meals, a shower, some clean clothes if you need it at the Salvation Army. And if you really are homeless and need a safe place to be, this token will get you a night there. And so you really know you're helping that person, that if they accept it, that they really are in need. If they don't, maybe their intentions aren't the best, that they're just out making some money.
Yeah, I think I love that program. I really do. I think it makes it a little bit easier. It's something you can pick, like you said, just grab a bundle, throw on the center console, there. And it's hard. And that's something that I've noticed as, my kids are getting a little bit older. Exactly what you said, just to touch that topic for a little bit. Some people don't have the best of intentions. Some people, it's their job. And it's hard as a parent, to say, I want to help. And I want them to see me, like we just talked about, setting that example. But then, when they're asking, it's like, well, why are we not giving? Or why didn't you give that guy some? Or why did, it's kind of that, okay, you're old enough to understand, but you're not old enough to understand what really might be going on. Because I think we've all been there. I've been there on College Drive and watched, a couple of times, the guy that was sitting there with the sign, walk over and jump the fence and, jump in his car and drive off, and it's upsetting for me to see that. And so I think it helps solve, that problem.
Yeah,
so
it absolutely does. And it gives you some assurity that what you're doing really may help that person and not just maybe adding to their issues. So yeah, I agree. It's a great program, and it's a way that you can know you're really helping somebody in need.
Well, hey, John, I think you got some work cut out for you here over the next couple of weeks. So I think, Greg, you guys are going to end up, I think that board's going to get pulled in, on this. So
they've already been there. We are so blessed by a great board. So many people like Greg who just don't show up to a meeting. They're vested in what we do. They show up to our events. They show up when we need volunteers. And every once in a while I'll say to them, we've got a project and I need some money, and they'll give. We have a great Salvation Army advisory board, like none other I've ever had in almost 35 years of serving in the Salvation Army. So very fortunate to have folks like Greg and 20 others who show up and are vested in what we do.
Wow. Well, thank you, Greg.
Oh no, thank you all. I mean, it's the Lord's work, and I mean that we literally just the major comes to us with ideas, and we just try to find a way. And I think it's like that Indiana Jones, that big ball that goes rolling through us. It's all of us just trying to push that ball.
Yeah.
Just sometimes you got more of a hand on it than in others, and it's just it is what it is. But I don't know, it is the Lord's work, and so I think that's what makes it so much easier.
Well,
and thank you
I can help
for
in
getting
any
our
way.
word out. I think it's great when we're able to touch people in every different little aspect, and this right here is a perfect example of somebody that if they're going to invest time enough to listen to what we have to say, they're probably piqued enough interest to where they'll help us out. So it's a great thing. Yeah,
no, hopefully this, helps. And if there's anything else we can do, I'm more than happy to help, wherever I can. I think that's what we created this show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, at this point is it's sometimes hard to get all this information into, Greg, you and I both are in, media. It's hard to get it into, the spaces that we have, and to really tell the stories. And, I was thinking while we were sitting here, Major John, like maybe if you've got somebody who wants to come on, who's, been impacted personally, kind of maybe by one of the programs and, kind of hear their story and see, from their perspective, we'd love to have them on. And because I think there's, it's not a, this isn't a marketing or a sales, but not a buyer journey, but there's a journey that someone's going to run through and they've got it on their list to do. We've just got to keep reminding them, of where it is and top of mind, awareness. So if we can, happy to have somebody else come on. It sounds like you guys are going to be going 100 miles an hour. How you're going to have the time for it, I don't know, but hey, hopefully we can.
Yeah, we'll make it work. It sounds like I like the idea. Thanks for the offer.
Absolutely. Well, I know you guys have more important things to do than talk to me, so I will let you get back to your days.
Right.
And hopefully get a chance to just go outside and walk around, and just kind of look up and enjoy it a little bit. Stop checking the phones. So,
right.
Yeah.
I'll be there. Well, guys, I appreciate the time as always.
Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.
Do whatever we can to help you out.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Christmas. If we don't see you before then, pray God's blessings on you.
Thank you, sir. You as well.
Definitely.